This video is to allow you to correct the homework from section 1.2.2. Imagine that you have a bag containing 10 marbles of different colors. You've drawn a marble, recorded its color, and replaced it 50 times with the following results: 9 purple, 16 orange, 6 yellow, and 19 green. Make a prediction for how many marbles of each color are in the bag. So my suggestion to you would be that basically when you have done this 50 times, these should add up to 50. But keep in mind, we only have 10 marbles in the bag. So what's happening is you're pulling them out and putting them back in. So one way to view it would be, all right, out of 50 times, we got 9 of them to be purple. So we got 9 purple out of 50. Okay. The question is, what does that probably mean for how many purple marbles are in the bag out of 10? So we're trying to figure out how many purple are actually in the bag out of 10 if we pulled out 9 purple out of 50 marbles. Now, keep in mind, this is not necessarily going to come out exactly, because you can see that 50 divided by 5 is 10, but 9 divided by 5 is not going to give us a whole number. So you can do cross products, you can do this however you wish, but it is going to be a prediction. You're going to have to do a little bit of rounding and or reasoning it out. So if you take 9 times 10, that's again how we solve cross products, and then you divide by your 50, what you're going to find is that, and I'll do it for you on the calculator here, 90 divided by 50, it's going to give you about 1.8. So what would that be? Well, if we round it, we'd say that's about 2 purple marbles. Okay. Then you're going to do the same thing with the others. So like for the orange, 16 orange out of 50 marbles would be how many out of 10? So again, you can do your cross products, 16 times 10, and then divide by the 50. And again, you'll have to do a little bit of estimating or rounding. So 16 times 10 would be 160, and divided by 50 would give you 3.2. So we'd say about 3 marbles we would expect to be orange. Now, again, as you're continuing to do that with yellow and green, keep in mind that your total can only be 10. So depending upon how you round, you may find you have to make a slight adjustment so that you still end up with only 10 total marbles. So what I got then was 1 yellow and 4 green. Again, make sure you're showing your thought process. Make sure you're showing your work, not just for the purple and orange, but for the yellow and green. Next one, a fair number cube with the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is rolled. What's the probability of getting an even number? Well, we know the even numbers are 2, 4, and 6, numbers that are divisible by 2. So there are 3 numbers out of 6 that are even, and 3 out of 6 would simplify to 1/2. Again, it would be good if you could show that. 3 6. How do we know it equals 1/2? Well, if we divide by a giant 1 of 3 over 3, because both 3 and 6 will divide by 3. So 3 divided by 3 gives us 1. 6 divided by 3 gives us 2. So again, 1/2. What's the probability of getting a factor of 6? Well, first we have to think about what are the factors of 6. Factors are numbers that, basically 6 will divide by without a remainder. So that would be the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 6. 6 divides by 1 without a remainder, 6 divides by 2 without a remainder, divides by 3 without a remainder, divides by 6 without a remainder. Good review of the idea of factors. So there are 4 of those out of 6. Again, you should show where you're simplifying, which then equals 2/3. 172, Ramon is saving this much per week to buy a new cell phone. The phone he wants costs $125. How many weeks does he have to save his money? First, they want you to estimate and figure it out exactly. So when you estimate, you might say, well, he's saving about $10 a week. Maybe that's a bit of a high estimate, but the phone is going to cost about $130. So 10 into 130, maybe about 13 weeks might be your estimate. Maybe you were trying to be more precise and said more like about $8 per week, and that would go into maybe 120. Because again, estimating should be easy. It should be numbers that you can divide in your head or multiply or what have you. So for in terms of doing it exact, you would take the $125, divide by the $7.75, and you get 16.13 weeks, 16 and 1300s. And of course, that means he's going to have to work 17 weeks because you need to make sure that you have enough. And at 16 weeks, he will not have enough. So at 17 weeks, he will. The estimate that they did is they went with $8 per week. So they said 10 weeks would be 80. Another $40 would put you at 140. So they estimated about 15 weeks. Again, any of those estimates are fine as long as they make sense. 173. If 18 inches is equal to 1.5 feet, how long is a 36-inch board? So again, you should show your thought process, show your work. So you might say 18 inches is equal to 1.5 feet. You could change that to a decimal, make it a little bit easier. So 18 inches equals 1.5 feet. And again, I usually say put the label on it. And then we want to know about a 36-inch board. How many feet is that? All right, now my equal sign looks quite dreadful here. You can't even see it there, so I'm going to rewrite that. But the other way you could have done it, and again, as long as you're showing your work, you're fine. You could say, all right, 18 inches is being doubled to give me 36 inches, so I'm going to double 1.5 feet. If you set it up like this, then this will also be a nice setup for the rest of this. So what about a 72-inch board? Well, we would simply change this to 72 and then do our cross products. What about a 144-inch board? Change this to 144 and do your cross products. Remember, when you're doing your cross products, again, it's something you'll use a lot. And the concept is always multiply diagonally the two that you know, and then divide by the third value. So you're taking these two and multiplying them, and then you're dividing by the third value, which is the 18. The remainder of the answers are here, but again, make sure you're showing some work. For this one, you need to figure out the missing values in this axis. So one way to do that would be to find the difference between two of the numbers on the axes and divide by how many spaces are between them. So for example, we have 60 and we have 0. And between them is 3 spaces. Don't count the lines, count the spaces. So 60 minus 0 would give you 60. If you divide by 3 spaces, you find out that we're going up by 20 each time. So again, I'd want to see that for your work. That means the missing values are 20, 40, and here would be 80. Here I'd want to see 60 minus 0 is 60, divided by 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, means you're going by 15s. So 15, then 30, then 45, and the one up here is 75. So again, make sure you're very much not just showing these answers, but showing how did you figure out what you were going up by for the scale. So again, hopefully it's obvious, but like in this one, 100 minus 0 is 100 divided by 4 sections. That's why we know we're going up by 25s.